They thought they could walk over his land. They broke what he built, laughed at his piece, and called it just community rules. But they forgot one thing. When you push a quiet man too far, he doesn't shout. He acts. Before we begin, hit subscribe and drop a emoji if you believe that justice always finds its way. In the green hills of Cartersville, Georgia sat a private lake, calm, deep, and beautiful. It was owned by Marcus Reed, a 45-year-old former engineer who left the city life after his wife's passing. He'd built everything with his own hands: the cabin, the small dock, and the wooden bridge that arched across the narrow part of the lake. To Marcus, that bridge wasn't just wood and nails. It was memory, the place where he proposed, where he watched sunsets, where he found peace again. But when the new homeowners association took over the neighborhood, peace turned into paperwork. At first it was simple: notices, emails, reminders about compliance. Marcus ignored most of it. He wasn't even part of the HOA. His property predated the community. Then one morning, a white truck arrived. 4 workers in orange vests stepped out, holding clipboards. Behind them came Cheryl Brighton, the HOA president, polished, confident, and loud. "Mr. Reed," she called, "we need to talk about your unauthorized structure." Marcus looked up from his garden. "My bridge?" "Yes," she said, crossing her arms. "It violates safety codes. The community board voted to remove it." "That bridge is on my land," Marcus replied calmly. "You have no jurisdiction here." Cheryl smirked. "Sir, the lake connects to common property. It's community-shared waters." "Not that section," Marcus said, pulling out a folder of old deeds. "This lake's been private since 1983. I own up to 50 feet past the shoreline." But she waved her hand dismissively. "We'll see about that." 2 days later, Marcus woke to the sound of chainsaws. He ran outside. The HOA crew was already cutting through the bridge. Planks cracked, nails screamed, and sawdust floated across the water like ash. "Stop!" he shouted. "You're trespassing!" Cheryl didn't even turn. "We have board approval." Marcus felt his chest tighten. Not from rage, but heartbreak. He'd built that bridge for his wife. Destroying it felt like destroying her memory. He filmed everything on his phone, but Cheryl, noticing, shouted, "Take it down!" and pointed at the crew. He answered, his voice low and trembling. "You'll regret it. I promise you." By noon, the bridge was gone and reduced to splinters. "The workers left?" Cheryl smiled as if justice had been done. Marcus stood at the edge of the lake, his reflection trembling beside the ruins. That night, rain came, heavy and endless. He sat by the fire, flipping through his old engineering journals. Then he opened one labeled Lake System Design. It was the blueprint for the dam he'd quietly reinforced years ago, back when the HOA never cared about the lake. He ran his fingers over the pages, thinking. He wasn't planning revenge. He was planning proof. The next morning, Marcus filed a property damage lawsuit and a cease and desist order against the HOA. But they ignored him. The community Facebook group mocked him. Crazy lake guy suing everyone again. He should have followed the rules. Marcus didn't respond. He worked. Quietly, patiently. He spent the next week inspecting the dam, adjusting the floodgate system he'd designed to regulate overflow. It was old, but still strong. He wasn't planning to flood anything. Just to make a point, when the next HOA meeting was announced, at the lakeside park, ironically, Marcus smiled. He marked the date in his calendar. Saturday arrived warm and bright. The HOA gathered under a white tent near the lake. Tables with banners, pastries, fake smiles, all ready for another Community Unity Day. Marcus parked his pickup on the opposite shore. He wasn't invited, but he didn't need an invitation to his own land. From across the water, Cheryl spotted him and groaned. "Oh great, he's here. Somebody call security." A guard walked toward him. Marcus raised a hand. "Relax, I'm just observing. Nothing illegal about standing on my property." Then he set a small metal case on the ground. Inside was a laptop connected to a remote valve control, the same control used for the lake's flood release gate. He'd spent years building it, not for revenge, but for water management. Still, today, it would send a message louder than words. As speeches began, Cheryl bragged into the microphone, "We must protect community standards, even if some people think they're above the rules." Polite laughter followed. Marcus clicked a button. Far beneath the calm water, machinery hummed, slow, deep, and unseen. A distant rumble rolled across the lake. People turned. Water began to lower, foot by foot. "What's happening?" Someone gasped. "Is this safe?" Another shouted. Cheryl frowned. Marcus, what did you do? He called back calmly. Nothing harmful. Just reminding you whose property you damaged. You can't drain the lake. Actually, he said, holding up his deed, I can. It's private water. You made it your business. Now you can watch it disappear. Within minutes, the exposed shoreline revealed muddy ground and the remains of the bridge. Everyone stared, realizing how deep the property line truly ran. By afternoon, sheriff's deputies arrived. They reviewed Marcus's paperwork, maps, and the recorded video of the demolition. The officer turned to Cheryl. Ma'am, he's within his rights. You destroyed private property. Cheryl's confidence cracked. This is absurd. What's absurd, Marcus interrupted, is thinking power means permission. A week later, the county court ruled in Marcus's favor. The HOA owed him $480,000 in damages plus legal fees. Cheryl was forced to resign as president. Her reputation shattered. The story hit local news. Engineer teaches HOA a lesson after illegal demolition. Marcus didn't celebrate. He simply rebuilt the bridge, stronger, wider, safer. Neighbors came to help, ashamed they hadn't before. At the reopening, Marcus placed a small plaque at the entrance. This bridge stands for peace. Destroy it again, and peace will leave with it. Months later, the lake thrived again. Birds returned. Fishermen laughed. Kids skipped stones. Marcus finally smiled, not because he'd won, but because he'd reminded everyone what respect looks like. Soft outro music. Some bridges connect land, others connect lessons, and some remind the world that silence isn't weakness. It's patience. If this story inspired you, subscribe now, tap the bell, and drop an emoji in the comments.